Welcome back, everybody. This is Andy. This is the Balcony Time Podcast.
This is Russ, and I have strong opinions about everything.
My name's Andrew, and I may be host to an alien parasite.
This is Nick, and I'm still confused about the three shells. What were we talking about?
That you have never seen Demolition Man.
I have not.
Yes.
I know you can't believe that. It is surreal.
Have you ever come across the three seashell scenario on like media, internet? You never heard about the three shells?
This is the first time that I have heard of the three seashell scenario.
You had me fooled because you had some interesting methods in mind for using the three shells.
I thought we were just talking about fun ways to scoop shit out of our ass. So.
Well, I mean, maybe we are. Maybe we are.
Pretty much.
Were you not very exposed to like 80s, 90s action movies growing up?
Some. I was more exposed to horror movies, I guess.
Who in your family introduced you to horror movies?
Bad parents.
Bad. Good parents, it can be argued.
Well, I mean, yeah, my mom had me watching the horror movies early too, but
I can't tell you how many times I've seen Commando and True Lies.
I guess
It was.
I mean, I guess if I was watching an action movie, it was going to be an action movie about like kids doing action stuff. So like the Three Ninjas or the Karate Kid or
for sure.
Something like that.
you sure you're not just thinking that because you did karate as a child?
That could be a thing. And maybe that's why I like those movies more.
Yeah.
And that's why I remember them more.
Sure.
But I don't remember seeing Demolition Man. I guess I know I saw Terminator and shit, though. But that was everywhere.
And I know you're a fan of the Rocky stuff, right?
I've seen them. I wouldn't say I'm a fan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I must be thinking of somebody else. But
Did you watch many Schwarzenegger movies growing up?
Not really. I mean, like I said, I saw Terminator.
So.
And then as a teenager, I saw the one where he's in the jungle fighting the alien.
Predator.
That's the one. Thank you.
Which
You're
one?
not completely deprived. Yeah, which jungle Schwarzenegger fighting movie?
That's a good question. No, but I remember Twins.
yeah,
That was a really funny Arnold Schwarzenegger
Yeah,
movie.
it was.
Junior.
Junior was really funny. So, yes, these ones I remember.
Ooh,
So not the
Kindergarten
action
Cop.
movies.
Kindergarten Cop was kind of an action movie.
It had some action at like the end.
I mean, but just because they have action in them doesn't make them an action movie. It's a
Fair
comedy.
point.
It's a comedy.
it is.
I think it's relative. Any Schwarzenegger movie has a baseline of action required for him to like manifest in reality, and
I
compared to
agree.
like another movie, it's definitely an action.
I like to think
movie.
about it more of it's a call to action, man. Like, this thing needs to happen in this movie. Who do we get? It's Schwarzenegger.
You remember Jingle All the Way?
Oh, yeah.
Bad.
Yeah, I didn't like that
But
movie.
it was a lot of fun.
I remember that movie being extremely hyped up in its time. Like, that was the blockbuster hit of the year.
Christmas movie. Man, they're all. I can't remember which one's which. They're all the same in my memory.
Christmas and Schwarzenegger.
There's some old man who hates Christmas, and then magic happens, and he loves Christmas again. Ta-da!
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
Yeah.
You got like a formula in
Yeah.
Hollywood every year. It's like, who's going to fill the roles of this story this
Yeah.
year?
But
Demolition Man, though.
back to the
it's-
Three
it's
Clans, yeah.
fantastic. Demolition Man will always stick out in my memory, specifically because it was one of the first times I remember going to the movie theater. And my older brother brought his friend, and I brought my friend, and my dad took us to the theater. And we had my older brother, who's 3 years my senior, really wanted to go see Demolition Man. Me, being younger, with my friend, really wanted to go see Cool Runnings.
Okay.
Feel the
And
rhythm.
Feel the rhyme. Get on up. It's fucking pushcart time. I don't feel like I lost in that coin flip between two movies, but later on I watched Demolition Man. And it's like, oh, I could not. My first trip to the theater, I feel like I couldn't lose. Both movies, fantastic. Yeah, Wesley Snipes, Sandra Bullock. So the three shells in that movie specifically comes from the fact that the first time he's got to go to the bathroom or something like that, they don't have toilet paper in the future. They just have three shells. So there's the running. They never explain how one uses three shells.
Hence my question: how many are in the middle, and how many in your hands?
Yeah, it makes sense since I got two hands. I'd put two in my hands, I guess. That's really funny, though. That's like a joke in the movie.
Maybe, yeah.
That's fun.
Maybe it's like all of our fancy razor blades these days, and you just stack them on top of each other. The first one gets the first layer.
Right.
The second one gets the second layer. The third one takes off a thin layer.
Third
of your
one gets
skin.
the hair.
So you just sandwich each shell between like thumb and four and middle and ring finger, and you just kind of like 3-layer scoop with a single hand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you have to wash them because you figure,
That's the future. I'm sure they have some kind of weird Dyson cleaning machine.
he didn't comment on any weird Dyson shell cleaning machine inside
That's
the
true.
bathroom. I mean, if you think about it, it'd be really eco-friendly to do it that way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, until everyone gets the plague.
Would you? You wash your hands when you're done.
Do they have water in the future? I don't remember.
Everybody was getting the plague from Taco Bell, anyways, dude.
Yeah.
the only surviving restaurant in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything bought by Taco Bell. Did anybody else get weirdly aroused still when they had the sex scene that wasn't real?
Yeah, the
saw
VR.
it. Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah, the
emotional
VR sex.
sex thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty
Yeah.
It
good.
reminded me a lot, at least thinking back on it, I could be wrong now. It reminded me of the Willy Wonka tunnel with the colors and shit.
Yeah, I get
Slightly scary.
Right.
Your sexual experiences are different. Than
You
They
never
take-
pictured
they take
terror
place in a
snails in
chocolate river.
Technicolor?
Do
Yeah.
not have a overwhelming, impending sense of doom when I'm making love.
Yeah.
Not every time. Not every.
You need
Sure,
to
but every
stay
now and then
out
you have
of
to
the
wonder,
zoo,
like, what?
Andrew.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, for sure.
Some creepy carnival barkers next to your bed,
If-
ominously
if-
rhyming words.
Yeah, if you're not feeling that moment from time to time, you're not taking enough shots.
That's right. If there isn't at least a little bit of fear, it's no good.
Speaking of, someone said carnival. Carnival.
Carnival.
Yeah, they're fun.
Carnival. Just went to the fair, and it's fascinating watching carnies work. It's always the same. It's like a mix between a physical labor job and working at a fast food restaurant. You can tell they are just harried. They're at like 11 out of 10 on the stress scale, and they're very nice. But
That makes zero sense to me. How are you stressed out
I don't know.
working as a carny?
Dude, I have a
I was
feeling
just
that
watching them, and I was like, man, that guy is like in the go zone.
I have a
probably
feeling
the
that a
meth.
bunch of shitty
It's
parents.
probably the math.
I think a
Yeah.
bunch of shitty parents throw their kids on those rides, and then they wander the fuck away and do what they wanted to, like while they're playing with the fucking bumper cars. Let's go get those funnel cakes, so we don't have to buy 4 of them. You know,
For $15 funnel cake.
right? And then if I'm hopped up on meth and the parents of these kids disappear, I'm gonna be a little fucking stressed out.
Not to mention the powdered sugar.
Right?
I'm not sure how many parents are just going to wander off in a fair and lose track of their children.
No, it's the other way around. The only reason I ever went to the fair was to wander away from my parents.
That's fair. Yeah.
It is a fair.
Don't you guys
That's what we're
remember
talking
that?
about.
Yeah, Jesus.
Like as a teenager, you guys remember that was like the shit, going to the fair and just
Yeah.
being able to like ditch your parents.
Okay, so my main fair going experience is growing up in Pomeroy, which is a podunk farm town.
Washington, right?
Yes, up in Washington. And the fair that they'd have up there is, I think, 1 year in 12 that I lived there, they had rides. There was like 3 of them. It was like a Ferris wheel, one of those swinging ships, and maybe some other ground-based one I don't remember. And like the shitty haunted house.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But every other year, there's no rides there. It's not big enough.
Just animals.
Yeah, there's like the population is like 1,100 people in all of Garfield County. And that one was the type of fair where literally you could go to and never see your parents until you either needed a ride home or you came home for dinner. It was like, I'm going to be at the fair all day.
Yeah.
I don't think I would feel the same way because the last experience I had at this county's fair, it's just drunk people and shiesty carny folk
Yeah.
everywhere.
But we're old enough now that we get to be the shitty drunks
Yeah.
and get away
I
with
mean,
it.
that's, I've never found myself to look forward to that situation, but I mean, maybe I should knock it until I try being drunk at the fair.
Dude, I'm down to get real drunk and go see Casey and the Sunshine Band. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how my body would react to carnival rides while inebriated.
So,
Yeah.
speaking of being drunk at attraction places, years ago, when I was living down in California, my mom, for my birthday one year, bought me a season pass to Disneyland and California Adventure. And I remember calling her and being like, hey, why don't you just get your money back? Like, I don't think I'll use this. She goes, no, hold on to it. Okay. Well, a few days after this, coincidentally, I found out that one of my coworkers has a season pass and is a super Disneyland freak.
Mm.
So we would go together. And turns out when you're able to go to Disneyland and not pay the entrance fee, it just becomes this place to hang out.
Oh.
And there's like downtown Disney, so you can go get drinks. There's always some weird thing going on every weekend, like the food and wine festival, right? So we would go in there and then we just like get plastered on beer and wine from like 10 a.m. to noon. And then, because you can't have that shit on the Disneyland side, we'd switch over to the Disneyland side and go ride kiddie rides. And his fucking favorite thing was the first thing we do is we go say hi to the princesses.
Okay, sure.
But that shit was a blast, yeah.
That sounds pretty good.
So I have to say, getting a little tipsy in like carnival settings is a lot of fun.
Well, there you go, folks. We have it from yet a first-hand opinion. Get a little drunk. Go to the fair. It's an experience.
Go to the fair.
I'll have to.
I think a lot of things would be better just a little drunk. Just a little.
Well, I imagine there's
Yeah.
And, just make sure you got a strong stomach.
pretty popular beverage.
When I can just give one fuck less, that's all I need. Like, get a beer in, I'm one fuck less, then I can kind of do whatever I want.
It's a fair point.
That being, I
Point for the fair.
I drink some of the least out of all of us, but
Yeah. I think it was Mitchell and Webb, comedians, had a skit about all the problems the world could be solved if you were just 1.5 beers in.
yeah.
Right. The moment you finish that second beer, you're done. But just get a little bit in there.
And the whole time you're just way better at pool. It's just, like doesn't matter if you're not playing pool, you're just better at it, right?
Yeah, that dose is a fine line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. No, it is. It's the same thing with bowling, except for that seems to be less of a fine line. That's a large gray area. I don't think you can get drunk enough that you could be bad at bowling.
Well,
Have you ever seen
To yourself.
Sylvester Stallone's bowling movie?
No.
that's called The Rocks.
Is it really?
Yeah.
No. The only bowling movie I've seen. Are you serious right now?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
You were gonna bring up Kingpin though?
Yeah, I was going to bring
Fuck
up
yeah,
Kingpin.
dude. I loved that movie.
That's the only bowling movie
Loved
I
that
know.
movie.
Andy was a bowler.
Big
You got your bowl
Lebowski.
on.
That's
Yeah.
not a bowling movie.
is
That's
a
a movie with bowling in it.
It is a movie with bowling
It's
in
a
it.
bowling movie.
It's
a
very
movie
much
with
just a
bowling
comedy
in
with
it.
bowling.
The bowling alley is just one of the scene locales.
It's like saying Office Space is a movie about an office.
It's a movie about a heist.
It's about movie about working. In
I
office.
was just joking around. Obviously,
Oh, yeah.
but I had to stop the charade for a moment because I feel like the Office Space reference is not a good analogy for.
I felt like it was a stretch, but I was going to use it because he was on my side.
Yeah,
I mean, Office Space is 100% an Office movie. The whole premise of that is the shittiness of working in an office.
Yeah.
sure, but like you're following a character. You're not following the guy's career.
Andy, let's stop while we're ahead.
Yeah.
I think I'm perfectly on track.
I don't. I
I think
disagree.
I'm perfectly on track.
I think that yes, Big Lebowski is the bowling is merely a platform for a bunch of other stuff that's going on because there's some weird hijinks and stuff that go on way outside of the bowling alley.
Yeah.
But in Office Space, everything about it is directly related to the
They're
office.
not that weird. Anyone could find themselves in that situation, which is what makes that movie so popular and relatable.
Well, 'cause
Last week I got my rug pissed on.
When's the last time you fought nihilists or
Yeah, man.
charcoaled a
Yesterday?
notepad and found a dick?
Gone to a swinger porn.
Sadly, not as often as I'd like.
Yeah.
Our lives aren't as cool.
it's true. Everybody's lives are better than ours in the movies. I say everybody's, but I'm thinking of some really fucked up movies right now.
Yeah,
and
that's
that's wrong. But I think
Saw.
for them, well, dude, I don't know. Like, there's at least one dude that's having a great time.
That's
in
what I was
Saw.
going to say. Is it depends on who you are in the movie.
Yeah, so, I mean, if we're talking main
Valid
characters here,
That's
somebody's.
I don't
having
think
a
they ever
blast.
caught him.
That giving Saw as gore porn, great. Giving that like an overarching story, like a plot with any kind of depth, was just in a failed attempt. It was in a.
The
just
Saw
feel the
fans will
need.
tell you that you are utterly wrong.
I know,
Yeah.
I know they will, because they're gonna say no, it's so deep.
They love to tell you how great the Saw story is.
But there's like 14 hours of Saw movie, and there's like 11 minutes of story.
That's
all
what I
real
feel
bad.
like,
Yeah,
That actually surprises me that you reference people out there who take the series seriously, like beyond just its horror.
yeah,
porn.
you'll run into
There's-
them. People that
yeah.
There's a fandom for everything.
it's got a pretty big following.
Yeah, but I can't imagine that fandom is taking it seriously. So that's surprising for me to hear.
Oh yeah.
Dude. was it XKCD, put 2 people in a cardboard box, tape it shut, and throw 100 photos of Newt Gingrich in there. And within a year, they'll be debating which one's the best photo of him vehemently, right? People love their fandoms.
That's true.
You give them time, and there's followers for
Speaking
everything.
of fandoms, I've started watching Stargate SG-1.
Oh.
And I've seen bits and pieces of it over the years. Like, even when the show was, like, fresh, I wasn't a regular watcher of it. I have no idea why. Probably because it was on, what?
Some
USA
weird
or
channel.
something.
I think it was USA. I don't know if they showed the reruns or if they. I think Sci-Fi showed the reruns. I think
I have
USA
no
was the
idea.
first.
It
Yeah,
was
okay.
too long ago. I could Google it. Don't care enough.
Nah,
Not important to the
whatever.
story. It is admittedly a B sci-fi show,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's not tier 1 quality at all. But the stupid things that happen so consistently in that show, just it boggles the mind. It's like no one's ever read a book before. Like no one's like anyone that's writing these shows has never written or read a story, because there's just so many glaring holes and logic flaws that exist in every single episode. You just gotta like.
Can you think of one in particular?
Absolutely. I was actually talking to Andy about this, but I feel bad for the Daniel Jackson character. He's the nerdy scientist, right?
Mm-hmm.
From the get-go. Now, I'm going to lean forward for this because it's
And knock the
serious.
table.
Yes, I did.
Disrupting our levels. I've been paying very close attention to my levels.
You should. You're terrible about it. So, from the get-go, you got to acknowledge that Stargate 1 is clearly like it's fairly pro-military.
Right.
The structure of command and all that. And because the whole operation's a United States military command. And the main character, MacGyver, Richard Dean Anderson, right? Yeah, I think it's
He's
Richard
MacGyver.
Dean, yeah.
He's in everything.
Yeah.
Well, okay, but I mean, he's
That guy.
the main character of Stargate
Sure.
SG-1. It's constantly like hating on the nerd characters, typically.
Mm-hmm.
Making little comments. He's like, I don't want the nerd on my team. So Daniel Jackson, if you've seen the Stargate movie,
Maybe.
okay.
I was younger, but I saw it. Yeah.
All right, so they leave Daniel on the alien planet. He decides to stay there. Their mission was to like blow up the Stargate with the nuke that they had on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Richard Dean MacGyver's character, who doesn't actually play in the movie, it's played by Kurt Russell.
I believe so.
I believe it's Kurt Russell in the Stargate movie. Doesn't use the nuke to blow up the gate. Instead, he uses to blow up Ra's ship. Ra's the Goa'uld alien that's enslaving these people. So they leave Daniel there. He's assumed dead. Later on, when they reboot the show, they change out Kurt Russell's character for Richard Dean Anderson. It takes place shortly after the movie's supposed to get over, like a year.
Wait, what happened first? The series or the movie?
The movie happened
Yeah.
first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
the movie kicked off and then later they made the show. So they have to go back to this planet to get Daniel. And when he's married now, he has a wife. And in the first episode, she gets captured by the Goa'uld and has one of their parasite aliens planted in her. She becomes a Goa'uld. So from the very first episode, they come
That
back.
sounds excellent.
No, it's pretty terrible.
Shut up, parasite that masquerades as Andrew.
So, and like I said, in that first episode, Daniel gets rudely bombarded from people from Earth, which results in his wife being taken and turned into a Goa'uld. So the main premise for the show is to keep exploring planets through the Stargate in hopes and stuff that they can find stuff to both help fend off the Goa'uld if they ever attack Earth, which they figure is an inevitability, and find Daniel Jackson's wife and their friend, who's also from the alien planet. Go ahead. You
Are
wanna
the
say something?
Goa'uld like human?
They're parasitic worm aliens.
That take over other
They
beings.
use
Yeah.
human bodies as hosts.
Only human bodies?
No, they can do it. They've done other stuff in the past.
Humans, goats, and reticulated pythons. That is their limit.
Rhinoceroses.
Articulating splines.
Okay.
So later on in the episodes, they come across a device made by a different alien race that can remove the Goa'uld parasite from the host body without killing the host, which they didn't think was possible. So theoretically, they could find Daniel Jackson's wife, put her through this machine, and she would be healed.
Mm-hmm.
She'd be back to herself. But in that episode, they have to destroy the machine at Richard Dean Anderson's request because there's Teal'c, who's a friend of theirs now, who is a Jaffa. He carries one of the Goa'ulds in him as a surrogate until it gets put into a host body. But he's their friend. He's turned.
Why don't they just kill the thing that's in them?
They can't because it'll kill him. Yeah. So
Yeah.
they're stuck in this thing, and they're like, we can't get out of this prison because this device will kill Teal'c. So we have to destroy it. And I'm like, okay, I think that there's other options. You're not on a clock here for this. You could literally go figure out something else and then come back and Teal'c could chill there. You could chill with him. Any of the humans can just walk in and out as they please because the device doesn't do anything to them. They don't have a Goa'uld parasite inside of them. No, that's not what they're going to do. Richard Dean Anderson looks at Daniel Jackson and says, Teal'c's here now, and we want him out now. So he hands him the energy weapon to Daniel and says, go ahead and try shooting it from the outside because you can't shoot it from inside. The weapon doesn't work inside the prison. Why would you make the guy whose wife's life depends on this machine existing blow it up?
Thing.
Yeah, I'm like, what a fucking asshole.
If
man.
I were him, I'd have just kept walking.
I would
That
have
is
let
a
somebody else
choice,
do it.
right?
I would be like, no, I'm not going to do that. If you're going to blow up this machine, I want nothing to do with it. But no, he does. And then like 30 seconds later, when they're out of the prison, they're down the planet, he's fine. The weight of that happening, finally finding an alien technology that could save your wife, and then just you having to destroy it, it's like no effect on it.
He's like
whatsoever.
not angry at them or anything.
Over it. It's just bad writing. But I'm going to keep watching it.
Oh yeah.
Sounds like Animorphs.
What?
Without the Animorph.
You're just thinking that's just the parasite.
So you're just saying it
they're
sounds like
sluggy.
it's bad writing.
I like
Yeah.
Animorphs was cool.
I don't even know if Animorphs is bad writing.
I read a couple.
I was hooked for a little while. I thought they
Really?
were cool. Yeah.
I probably
young
read
adult
at least
novels.
16, 17 of those growing
Yeah.
up.
The
I
way
read
I
about-
looked at it is if I started reading Animorphs, I was saying just fuck you to R.L. Stein because Goosebumps. Like they were warring factions.
I never
You had
saw
the
them
two.
as warring. I always just
they're
read them.
entirely different genres.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. They
Horror
were always
versus
right next
sci-fi.
to each other. I mean, in young adult.
That's
plans.
because at the book fairs, that's where you'd pick up your new copies, and they just happen to be.
This is true. Yeah.
The only competition is that they had much cooler cover art.
Here's the thing: when I went to book fairs, I had like
Kids turning into
$3.
animals.
Yeah, dude, these did have way
Dude,
cool.
some of them did have the holograms. I don't know,
Yeah.
man. Some of the R.L. Stein ones had great fucking covers.
They were always
Yeah.
so kitschy, I thought.
Yeah.
A word you didn't even have in your lexicon when we were reading R.L. Stein.
That's true.
You were spoopy.
It's a word I didn't have until yesterday.
I don't know. I would be curious I should read another Animorphs book and try to objectively decide as an adult whether or not it is solid writing or if it's just hot
Yeah.
I'm
garbage.
reading Dune again.
You're
That
always
is
reading Dune.
unquestionably awesome.
I think Dune's one of those books that it's just you're constantly reading. Like
It's a
you
great
just pick it up, put it down. I was obsessed with
like the Bible.
Hatchet growing up.
The
By
Hatchet?
Sure.
Gary
Paulson.
Paulson. I don't know why. Kid getting like it's just, being lost in the woods, having to survive.
That was a huge book.
Oh yeah, I loved
Yeah.
it.
That was one
I
of
read
those
it a
required
lot.
reading books, right?
I don't know.
I mean, no, it was a relatively new book when we were in school. I think it just blew up. It was the Harry Potter of its time.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah,
remember
I don't
when
know
it came
where
out.
its fame came out, but I definitely think that it was noteworthy amongst all circles.
Yeah.
Probably some parents' school book club was like, "Oh my gosh, this book! Oh my gosh, this book! Maybe I'll stop reading fucking Animorphs."
Learn how to survive in the Canadian wilderness, child.
Yeah, I'll turn into a fucking bird and be able to.
But
hunt
what
my
about
dinner.
the space worms, Andrew?
To be fair, I read a lot of Gary Paulson's work. I picked him up because
I think I read some of his other stuff too. He had was there the one where they were having to eat caribou eyeballs? There's like an Inuit
I don't
book.
recall.
I specifically remember reading a passage about him describing, and he had found gold and he had it in his pocket, but it was too heavy and he had to start a fire and he had to leave the gold behind. I don't remember.
The thing
what
is
that
he
one was.
wrote books that I feel are kind of in that valley between R.L. Stein and Animorphs, where it didn't cross over into only sci-fi or only horror. Like he'd write.
I don't think I had read
So-
any of his stuff that was sci-fi at all. It was all mundane people in the wilderness kind of stuff.
I'm fairly positive I'm thinking of the same guy, and I'll look it up in a second. But I remember that he also wrote a book where two kids get sucked into a video game, and they find out very quickly that they have limited amount of lives. And I think they lose, like they have 3 lives, and I think one of them loses 2 within 10 seconds.
Oh, wow. I don't remember that.
And
one.
then the rest of the book is them dealing with the repercussions of being caught in a video game. So that should give you an idea of like the range that he would write his books in, besides just Hatchet.
Speaking of which, there's a new reboot.
What?
Yeah, it's
Like the robot movie?
like the computer
the
video
Canadian animated cartoon series.
Now this one this one's very similar to the original Power Rangers, where there's real kids, and then they go into the game with the help of like this AI. So it's like pretty standard kind of Power Ranger thing. But they have fucking Megabytes in it. He comes back and he's like, "This all sucks. I'm gonna take it over and make it better." It's like, yeah, Megabyte, you do your thing.
You are thinking
Short Circuit?
Short Circuit, yes. Yeah, you got
Circuit,
it.
vaguely, yeah.
Was the
Johnny
premise
number 5.
Yeah, dude, Johnny
was
Five.
the
yeah,
premise
Johnny
of that
number
movie that robot was super secret tech?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was AI, man.
That
Sentient.
robot was like, I'm thinking about it now. Like I remember I loved that movie, but thinking back on it, like that robot didn't really do much.
When
what
he
are you
Short
talking
Circuit,
did
he
some
would.
sick tricks, man.
Then I'm not remembering the movie very
Solved
well.
No, yeah.
crimes,
Yeah.
saved families.
Was that his thing?
I mean, when he was.
He's
Short
a robot with the
Circuited.
2 claw arms and the.
I just remember the
binocular
flipper flapper
eyes. Yeah,
eyes.
he got the
Yeah.
eyelids.
He had treads, like 2
Yeah,
treads.
yeah.
Yeah, Johnny 5 is alive.
Yeah.
I mean, he did as much as any Johnny 5 could reasonably do.
So I
Okay.
think in the first one he got like wet or something. Like it was kind of a funny moment. And then he goes super violent and he's got like guns and shit and starts,
Shit.
Oh, yeah, I
trying to kill
vaguely
people.
remember the guns, I think.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure it might be the first one. It might be the second one. There are other, number 5s.
Mhm.
And they're all evil. They're weapons from the government, super secret. But they need like 10 of these things to bring in,
The one original.
the one. Yeah.
Because he's OG.
Well, and he was funny. Dude, like really though, I mean, that's pretty impressive to get a robot that's that expressive in
all
like
in the eyebrows.
1994.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is all in the eyebrows, really.
Think about
Yeah.
Wall-E, too.
True. Yeah.
Eyebrows do a lot.
It's true. I'm gonna shave my eyebrows and see if people can tell when I'm sad. Just
I imagine the
answer is
extreme
yes,
balling
all
might
the
give it
time.
away.
That's what I was going to say. The answer is yes, because you have no eyebrows.
yeah.
Uh,
So no, I actually loved Short Circuit as a movie. Like as a kid.
No, I remember liking it. And I
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember it that well, other than like I don't feel like that robot seemed super secret. Like it wasn't like I felt like jets are more impressive than that robot.
Well, yes, they are.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they have missiles.
Yeah.
They have Gatling guns. It's.
And I remember it was sort of like a military secret, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
so
he
I thought it was
escaped
sort of
from
like a weapon.
something.
Yeah.
I don't remember if he was considered just a weapon or not, but
But here's
I
the
think
thing.
I only watched the movie once when I was young.
Go back and watch Terminator. The Terminator is a scary thing, right? That is it. Like the T1 or the T800, Arnold Schwarzenegger's model, right? That's a terrifying thing, right? But that's not. It's the concept that's terrifying, not necessarily the implementation, right? That implementation is not fucking practical. Do you remember like the flashbacks when they go back to John Reese fighting the fucking war? All that shit was like these 40-foot tall mechs and on
just
treads. It's like that's not
slowly
how it would.
walking.
I mean, they just nuke us, right?
Right.
Like that's all they're like. You wouldn't need a robot cleanup crew. You just glass the planet, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's when you don't have future tech as common parlance, like just thinking about Terminator, there's so many better ways to go about it. Drones, micro nanobots, like you said, nukes. It's just
Which
unfeasible.
they did touch on.
Yeah, part of it's just for fun. I mean, they're going
Yeah.
to make the plot that way because it's fun. But
Well, I think that was high concept for the time.
Will
Well,
we get
yeah,
sued
just a
if
bunch
we
of
will we get sued
androids
if we
running around.
listen to the Terminator soundtrack?
Yes.
yes,
Oh, then don't look that up.
No.
you can
But
sing
it's
it.
fucking cool.
It's really good. In fact, I actually watched Angry Video Game Nerd recently, where he reviewed like all of the Terminator games.
Oh my!
And most of the licensed games couldn't get the song.
Yeah,
That's fucked
not surprised.
Yeah.
They
So
outsourced a lot of games in the 90s. There's so many movie tie-in games,
Yeah,
and they were shit.
and apparently they're all made by LJN.
That fucker.
It's like the same company. Yeah, that bastard. Fucking LJN. What a cuck.
Oh man, didn't I hear they're bringing
Speaking
back
of which-
Chex Quest?
Oh.
What?
I think they're bringing back Chex Quest or making like a second one or something.
What's
The
Chex
fuck
Quest?
is Chex Quest?
You don't-
Are you talking about the PC game that came in your
Yeah.
checks?
Yeah, you bought
Yeah,
Chex
okay.
cereal and it had a CD-ROM in there
Yeah.
of the game Chex Quest, and it was a reskinned Wolfenstein game.
See, I remember you getting that game and talking about it, and we could never get it to run on your
Yeah,
one
because
from
my
the
computer
cereal
was
box,
shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think
Right, the one from the cereal box.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was like in another
That's cool.
spot for a second.
Yeah.
That's what I remember of it, is like being the most frustrating installation of all time is all that I remember of that.
So, I don't think Gary Paulson wrote the VR video game, but
Oh,
Okay.
I looked through his books, couldn't find it. Doesn't really seem like he strays as far as I thought he did.
Okay.
Now
Well,
I'm trying to track.
now we
the
know.
book and,
Good looking that up.
I was just over here making stuff up.
it's-
Turns out animorphs were never real.
Yeah, we all live in a brain vat tank.
Manchurian effect.
Yeah.
Or no, it's not Manchurian, it's Mandela effect.
Man-
Mandela effect.
the one that I always am kind of sad that they wouldn't try to take a full crack at to make into a movie series is the Redwall stuff.
Oh, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to train animals to talk.
It is, and it's costly.
Thankfully, we have these things called pewdas nowadays.
Oh,
No,
Do all the
data.
downloading. You get them graphics.
yeah, they should.
No,
get them
I mean,
back.
from a pragmatic aspect, the amount of furries and anthro people in real life, that
Ooh.
will make a shit ton of money.
I just
Come
think
out
about
with
all
Redwall.
the other stuff that they've done. I mean, like the
Oh, yeah. And fantasy
Dark
huge
Crystal
right
and
now.
like I mean, when those books were popular, you had stuff like Dark Crystal Labyrinth, where like you had Jim Henson.
doing all
and-
the puppets.
Yeah, right. We could have absolutely
Really
done
Dark
that.
Crystal
fantastic.
technically
I wasn't
came out
even
in
thinking
the-
like
on a budget.
puppets and animatronics.
Or were you thinking like modern day, like
just
CG?
CG? Just
Yeah.
they've
Sure.
made so many CG animal movies, and now they're doing all these
Yeah.
Disney reboot garbage.
Yeah, instead of Toy Story 5, make fucking Redwall.
yeah, I mean something like that.
I thought they were done with
That's a
Toy Story.
license that Disney.
No,
could
there's a
fucking
Toy Story
gobble
that
up.
just came out.
I thought it was the last and fourth one. Fourth and last.
I don't know what number it is.
Toy Story
just know they just came out with
Spleen.
one.
The redoing.
Was it Toy Story
It's
4?
Toy Story 4.
Yeah.
Still. By the way, Spider-Man is in theaters.
Yeah,
I want
Josh,
to see
Josh
it.
was talking
Yeah.
about it. He said it was good.
Of course, it's good. Have you watched?
I don't know if I'm
Homecoming?
going to be able to see a better Spider-Man movie than the animated one, though. That was amazing.
Did you watch Homecoming?
The first new Spider-Man, yeah.
It's just really good.
Yeah, it was a good Spider-Man movie.
I mean, it's hard to top the animated Into the Spider-Verse, but it's just a different.
At the end of the
it's a
day, yeah,
different
it's not
Spider-Man.
like I can only watch one. But
I don't think there's going to be another good Spider-Man movie. Fucking Batman and Spider-Man ruined it for me. They're just they're too good. It's too
You're
good.
like way behind on your Marvel movies, though, aren't you?
No, I'm pretty sure I'm like I think I'm caught up.
you've seen
Are you?
Spider-Man 2?
Well, I haven't seen Ant-Man. I haven't seen either of the Ant-Man movies.
Okay.
Um
You've seen all the Avengers
I've seen all the Avengers.
up through the life and death of Thanos.
Yeah. When Ant-Man plugged him in the butt. No, I haven't seen Endgame. I don't remember which Avengers was the last one.
The Endgame.
Endgame. Is that after Snap?
Yes.
I have not seen after Snap.
I don't know what
The
that
big
is.
3-hour long
post-Snap.
I
movie.
don't. I'm failing my nerd brethren.
I've seen a handful of Marvel movies. I mean,
No,
the most
Infinity
recent,
War was the last one that I saw. So I have not seen
Infinity
Endgame.
War was pre-Snap, and then this Endgame
Right.
was post-Snap.
Yeah. No, I haven't seen Infinity War yet. Because, that's still in theaters, isn't it?
Endgame?
I don't know.
I don't
Or,
think
yeah,
so.
I don't know. It's
Endgame.
been a while.
It's a Marvel property. It's possible that it's going to be in the theater for like 9 months.
It's not in the theaters.
Um,
It's still in the theaters.
Yeah, it's absolute. There's probably at least, I'm going to say
There's
at least,
one showing.
is
today.
just one?
Let's see. Nope.
I was going to say 6.
There are 6.
Fuck yeah.
Well, that's different theaters. Sorry.
Well,
There's
Still.
4 at Tinseltown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay. 4 theaters? Oh, or...
No. 4 showings.
Okay.
Probably in one theater.
Yeah.
I think it's in 5 theaters.
They just like to move the giant reels
It'd be fun.
around.
It's not on reels anyway.
Pretty
I
sure
know
it's
that. It's digital.
No, it's just a fucking hard drive, man. It's like this big.
I haven't seen Endgame either.
Why?
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
I'm fucking sick of
See, I'm not sick of them, but there are now movies that I can wait to see. Like I've seen enough of them that I don't have to do the theater experience for it.
I would agree. However, I feel that Spider-Man is the exception to all the blasé Avengers Marvel bullshit.
I agree. I loved Homecoming.
Homecoming was fantastic.
Loved it.
Yeah.
And that is why I'm super excited, because not only do we get more of Homecoming action, but we get Mysterio and Jake Gyllenhaal. Like, that's just fantastic to me.
Yeah. Homecoming is what brought me back into the universe.
Yeah,
like,
it should.
That's
good.
that's when I was like, okay, it's time to get caught up on all these movies. And I enjoyed all of them, but Homecoming and Ragnarok. Ragnarok also got me super fucking jazzed about Marvel movies. That movie was great.
It was their answer to Guardians of the Galaxy, I feel.
Yeah.
Could be
Their
wrong.
answer.
Their answer. It's in the idea of the breaking the fourth wall, meta humor, that kind of stuff that Guardians really kind of capitalized on.
What is it their answer to Guardians that's the same people making those movies?
Well, it's not the same dude.
I think it was the answer to popularizing Thor, because I don't think those movies were doing as well as the rest of the Marvel properties.
From what I hear, I mean, the first Thor was good.
Solid.
Second Thor was
Fine.
lackluster.
Yeah.
I just think that
were
they
fine
came
movies.
off of such a high from Guardians. They're
Yeah.
like, well, let's just throw this at everything.
Whatever their reason, I'm perfectly happy about it, because the pivot they made between the previous movie and Ragnarok, such a good decision. Fucking piss off Ghost. I don't remember the last time I laughed at
That's
that
the
hard of a
director.
movie. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, me too. That's fantastic.
Waititi?
I have no
Something.
idea.
New
I don't
Zealand
know
guy.
people.
I think we've seen so much generic superhero movies that to have something mature like that.
Yeah.
And that's why I think Guardians did really well. It was mature superheroes, right?
Mm-hmm.
They
Didn't act like Boy Scouts,
yeah.
and they didn't act otherworldly.
Yeah.
They just acted like average adults with weird scenarios happening to them,
Yeah.
And a talking raccoon with a jetpack.
which they adapt
He's
to
not
very
a
quickly.
raccoon.
I thought he was.
He's a
That's a
raccoon.
joke in the
Oh,
show.
okay, yeah.
My biggest love for Guardians was viewing it through the lens as a dungeon master for tabletop games. It like the whole movie felt like these are 4 characters being played by players whose sole goal is to fuck with the DM. Especially like Rocket the raccoon wanting to get the leg in the prison escapes, and he's like, "I didn't need the leg." It was a great way to view this as like a sci-fi tabletop romp with them just, especially not necessarily fourth wall breaking, but that kind of meta humor the movie had.
Did you guys see they're making a Dune movie from the guy
think
who
you
was
told
in
us about
charge
that.
of the Blade Runner shit?
Oh, the
Yeah.
Blade Runner
Villeneuve.
2049 or whatever.
Whatever that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
The stills look cool.
That is exciting.
That Blade Runner sequel, though, it's good.
I still need to watch it.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know how I feel about a Dune movie. I remember reading the headline that they were going to reboot that stuff, but I definitely don't feel like I have the overwhelming enthusiasm that the rest of you have for Dune stuff.
It's just the one book for me.
Sure. Then that's still even your level of enjoyment from that one book is like
It's
I've
such a-
delved into so many more enjoyable fantasy worlds that is I could just keep going down that rabbit hole. To have a one-off Dune book where you're just grazing the surface of maybe more potential there, it was just not as engrossing for me.
My favorite part of Dune is the Chevelle song that they made about Dune. That's probably I'm not to say that I'm like I dislike Dune. I think it's a good property, but I've only seen the movie, and I haven't seen it in a long time. I remember really enjoying it, but I was also playing with Transformers, so like I don't know. I was just having a fun day when I watch Dune.
I don't have anything negative to say about Dune, the
Mhm.
book, or the movies or anything, because I don't remember the various attempts they've had to put that on the big screen. But I definitely feel like I'll just be the voice for the people that are like, okay,
Yeah.
Dune,
Uh,
neat.
From what I remember of Dune, having read it once as a teenager, it was a world that was both implied and described as highly intricate and very politicky, and it was similar in scale and grandiosity as Lord of the Rings was, but in like a different flavor. And I think that's what struck with most people, is that you seemed like you had this grand, opulent setting.
Well,
It was-
what's great about that is, like you said, like, oh, you can dive into all these little niche parts of this universe. What I like about it the most is the fact that there's this grand universe that's out there, but you're not told too much about it beyond what's relevant to the story. And so the
yeah.
story just carries itself within this universe, and there's a lot of stuff that is not explained to you, but is just revealed through the characters within the
Showing, not
setting.
telling.
Good storytelling.
Yeah, it's just it's really good storytelling, and that's what I like about it. And it's set in this really unique world of this weird feudal sci-fi setting, right?
Mhm.
Like these people are acting like it's this like these weird families that people follow, and yet they're spacefaring, right? And so you don't know exactly what's all keeping it together. All you know is this story that's in front of you, and that's what I really like about it. And I like stories that stand alone and they don't. Yeah, I'm not
Sure,
a
yeah.
big series guy or whatever, but
Having to read so much for my job, I've lost any drive to read at home now. It's a huge bummer.
That is a
I've got
bummer.
a stack of books waiting for me. But so it goes.
I've just been too busy playing Minecraft lately to read.
You've been watching PewDiePie, haven't you?
I have been
Of
watching
course
PewDiePie.
you've been watching PewDiePie.
Have you been watching PewDiePie?
No, I don't need to watch PewDiePie.
It's been fantastic.
There are only so many minutes in the day.
And some of them should be spent watching PewDiePie play Minecraft.
Nothing wrong with PewDiePie. Guy's great. Not my jam. I've played Minecraft. I don't need to watch him play it.
That's fair. I would say that you should watch some current PewDiePie stuff because it's very different from what most people think of PewDiePie.
I have come to the sad realization that I do not have the imagination for Minecraft.
Yeah.
Did you
Not
not play
even
with Legos growing up?
Not too much, no.
Mm.
To be fair.
Lots of Legos. I have a whole tub of them somewhere.
The weird experience for me is that my favorite part of Minecraft is not building. For the most part, I think I lack a little bit of creativity when it comes to building. I like the exploration.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's
How?
my favorite part.
Minecraft is such a barren game.
No.
Oh my God. It takes all of 10 hours before you've done everything of worth. What are you going to explore? Like
Have you experienced a raid?
Of what? Villagers?
Yeah.
Boring. You bring on the next game. Dude, Minecraft is great as a scaffolding for playing with other people and doing stuff interacting like any multiplayer game. And it's great if you want to do 3D art and whatnot. But the actual like survival gameplay of the role-playing side of Minecraft is Duplo blocks.
Yeah,
right?
I agree with Nick on this.
Like
I
once
fully
you've found a
disagree.
village, you found a ruin, you've gone to the end, you fought the dragon. Spoilers for all you 8-year-olds.
You're talking about stuff that takes like dozens and dozens of hours.
We all
How is
did
that
it
not a
together in
complete
like
game?
2 nights. And then once you're done, you're like, okay,
Yeah, we did it with 4 people.
Okay, let me
in
just
a couple of
let me phrase it
nights.
this way. What is there to explore that you enjoy exploring so much?
I just like to explore that, and
It doesn't
and
bother
say-
you that you're seeing the same things over and over again?
dude. No, I mean the sites are completely different. Do you ever just drive to look at the scenery?
No.
I mean, okay, well you don't drive, but
I don't walk to see the scenery either. Here's the thing.
do.
I would love to walk to see scenery in a place I haven't been before. But if I'm walking around the town I live in, I'm not going to walk through the same quote unquote cave over and over again to
I don't know,
find
man.
pieces of
I
diamond.
find every ravine to be fascinating. Like that is a new opportunity for me.
Also,
That's-
would that be the equivalent of like driving down 2 aisles of shelves and you just have cardboard boxes with pictures of what scenery looks like on them?
I don't think you've played Minecraft recently enough.
I can't. deny
Here's the
that.
thing. We played Minecraft quite a bit. About shortly after the Ender Dragon came out, they'd added
like
in
2011.
they added in the hoppers and the stuff like this.
Yeah.
This game, it did really well. You can't knock it for what it's done. However, the potential that they have squandered for the storyline and the role-playing game aspect of Minecraft is immense. The sheer amount of updates they've had where like, we removed the sponge block and we added in pistons. Oh, now we have sticky pistons. It's
There
like
was never any intent on making it a role-playing game.
but it is a role-playing game. You're playing a role in that sense that you are surviving. It's one of the classic survival games, right?
It's a survival game.
Now that I've done the survival, I've played Minecraft maybe 30, 40, 50 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I've built the base. I've done all this stuff. There's nothing left to experience that's new. I don't understand. Like, it's really cool that you can enjoy going through a bunch of different ravines, but like,
I'm
they're
going
the
to
same
reiterate,
thing.
you really should watch the PewDiePie videos. Like,
Okay, maybe I'll give it a shot.
Dude, honestly, it's like watching. You remember when we sat down and binged Frankie videos for DayZ?
That's a different game.
It's not.
Yeah.
No, not really.
Yeah.
No.
He had storylines he had written. He's
You
interacting
haven't
with real people.
Yeah, you haven't watched the PewDiePie videos. You can't argue against that.
Okay.
Watch them and then bring me. I mean, start somewhere in the middle where he has a base established or whatever, and then tell me that they aren't totally similar, if not almost exactly like the DayZ stuff we were watching with Frankie.
Okay. I'll give it a shot.
Yeah. I mean, it's lacking in multiplayer, but the experience that he creates for you is very similar.
Okay.
Side note, you cannot say that a game is a role-playing game because you play a role.
That's not what I said.
That is exactly what
It
you
is
said.
what you said.
It's a
I
role-playing game
apologize.
because
That's
you're
not
playing
what
a
I meant.
role.
Well, how do you define a role-playing game?
By the definition, I think, of role-playing games would be you're choosing your character. You have a leveling up system, a progression system that's prevalent in the game.
Some sort of skill tree has to be.
I feel like skill trees or character building options as you level them up is a qualifier for a role-playing game.
I think those descriptors are too crunchy for me. I think a role-playing game is a game where you put yourself in the shoes of either a pre-made character or a character you're choosing, and you're given choices to make throughout the game.
That's every game.
Let me ask you
Not
guys
Mario.
something.
How is that not? You're putting the shoes of a character, and you have to.
What choices do you make in Mario to affect the storyline?
So you have to have storyline affecting choices.
Yeah. Role-playing, it's a very broad category. I mean, you have the old school style of like computer RPGs like Baldur's Gate, but The Witcher's a role-playing game, right? But what about, let's think of a game that doesn't have a lot of crunch in it.
What is crunch?
Crunch, numbers,
It's like when you bite
stats, items, as opposed to fluff, storyline, lore, that kind of stuff. So crunch and fluff. So what's the Eden Finch game, A Tale of Two Brothers. I'm trying to think of more loosey-goosey games that might qualify as role-playing games. Journey? Maybe?
You think that's a role-playing game?
I feel like Shadow of the Colossus is a role-playing game.
I feel like that's just an adventure.
I feel that's
game.
an adventure game.
It's
like
a platformer.
that's Legend of Zelda.
Like that's what I was about to ask. Is Zelda a role playing game? I
Yeah.
don't think so.
I don't think so. either.
It's totally a
It's an
role-playing
action game.
It's an adventure game.
I don't feel like it has to be mutually exclusive.
I also think that we're just trying to define when all these genres have to be malleable somewhat.
Yeah, there's a lot of overlap.
It's like trying to define one band versus another. I mean, like you can say yes,
yeah.
they are rock, but what kind of
They got
rock?
a lot
How
of
do they
influences.
sound different than every other rock band? What makes them? So I don't think you can.
I would like to
Hard
reiterate
classify.
that the only thing that I brought up in my sidebar was disgruntlement with Nick saying
No, I agree.
that
Yeah.
RPGs are games where you're playing a role.
No, I'm not. This
That's
is not a
fair.
counter argument.
And he
I
admitted that
should've.
that's not what he meant.
Yeah.
yeah,
And then immediately asked me to define role-playing games.
yeah.
It's all good.
But I think that's a hard definition too.
we can
I mean-
hammer it out.
I'm looking at it. I want to see what the internet says.
Yeah, that's fine.
Fuck the internet.
The internet's always right, even
Fuck
when
the
it's wrong.
internet.
I'm just curious what it says.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm very
too.
happy to be on the internet.
We
Yeah.
all are. We're in the tubes.
Thank you, internet.
But fuck you too.
Yeah.
Speaking of internet, someone told me today, I think it was Josh, talking about they're trying to something put the military on the cloud. Anybody hear about that?
Put the
They're
military on the cloud.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I should interpret that statement.
Like,
because
a
immediately I want
cloud
to think of the dude
storage
in
network.
Mario who is the cloud like tank.
I'm throwing out this funny shells.
You ready? I've read a brief summary here. So the main aspect of a role-playing video game is the player controls the actions of the character, but it goes into talk about how they share much of the same terminology, settings, game mechanics of like pen and papers. And some of those characteristics that goes on to talk about is like you control a central game character or multiple game characters, usually called a party, and you attain victory by completing a series of quests or reaching the conclusion of a central storyline. You get to explore, solve puzzles, engage in combat, and a key feature is that characters grow in power and abilities, and characters are typically designed by the player.
Typically.
That sounds
That
to me
describes Zelda to a T.
I didn't say Zelda's not an RPG.
Someone did.
I was arguing.
I
Zelda
wouldn't
is
call it
an
an
RPG.
RPG either.
I mean, minus the fact that you're not making your own character, which isn't necessary
I
to a
would-
role-playing game.
Definitely think put Zelda in the
Yeah.
RPG category. I
It's
think
like
why
an
it
adventure
seems like
RPG, but
yes,
Yeah.
but I think why it seems different is because you're not getting a like textual overlay of what the quests are that you're on. But that game is all it is a series of quests to advance a storyline as your character grows in power and abilities.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not in your face. They're not saying like quest
there's
save
no
the
quest
farmer's
log.
daughter,
There's
go
n-
to
yeah.
Brenyan
Style
Town.
choice.
Yeah, there's no quest log.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it checks most of the RPG boxes.
I wouldn't argue based on the definition. I have never associated it as a role playing game, and also when people are talking genre, I don't see it in the role playing genre.
I say fuck
Yeah, it's
the
because they
internet
have their
and its
adventure
definition.
genre. No, it's a good point. The ability to grow in power is definitely a hallmark of role-playing games.
It is referenced as a fantasy action adventure game, though.
Yeah. It's like saying a band is post-neo fusion polka punk as opposed to...
I just feel like it leads more credence to the argument that an RPG needs to have more of those very specific characteristics to get lumped in as an RPG.
Yeah.
You have to crunch it more.
Yeah, but I don't think an RPG needs to have an inventory with a paper doll system and a strength stat and attack rolls to hit a monster, is what I was saying. You can have an RPG game like Zelda where you grow in power just by getting new items, and the items open up new options, and they allow you to do things you couldn't do before, right? So you don't track that Link has 42 hit points and that his sword does 3 extra fire damage. He's now got a Deku stick that's on fire, and now he's got a mirror that allows him.
Have you played Breath of the Wild?
No, I've seen a lot of it, but I haven't played it.
It actually becomes that.
But
You have
that's
a
a
sword, the
little
sword
bit of a
does
digression from the
57
Yeah.
damage.
Yeah.
And
It's different
your
than
heart
the original
system is your hit
Zeldas.
points. You know?
Oh yeah, I guess there is a numerical value to your hearts.
There is.
Yeah, I didn't think about
You can
that.
take quarter damage, half damage.
I think that it's a strong argument that Zelda could be classified as an RPG. 100%.
I think if that's how it's defined, then I think it falls into the RPG light category. Maybe
Maybe that's what the definition of fantasy action adventure games are.
could be.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's already a color for that. It's called pink.
Color.
There's
What?
already a category for that. It's fantasy action or fantasy action games.
You're just assigning colors to games now.
No, it's a red
Kids
versus blue
can't play
reference.
purple games.
What?
Oh, pink.
It's already,
Oh,
it's
it's
a
lightish red?
Yeah, it's lightish
It's a
red.
whitish
lightish
red.
red.
We're,
It's
ta-
lightish
we're
red.
arguing over lightish red
Yeah,
versus
yeah.
pink.
okay.
It's
I
interest-
got
I think
you.
it's interesting to get in to see what the common thought of definitions of video games are. But I mean, obviously, the lines get blurred substantially as we move further and further
Yeah.
into what video games can do.
Because you could also argue, based on what's been said, that Devil May Cry is an RPG.
Yeah.
I mean, based on that
It's a hack
criteria,
and slash RPG, I guess. Yeah.
I would never define it as such.
I wouldn't classify that one as just because the combat mechanic puts it out into a different category.
Is Half-Life 2 a role-playing game?
No, it's a first-person shooter.
First-person shooters can't be role-playing games?
I don't think first-person
What
shooter
about
is
Deus
necessarily
Ex?
a genre. I think that's a
Well, it's a genre in the sense that it's like a defining feature of games.
yeah, it's a defining feature. I don't think it
Deus Ex is
necessarily-
definitely a role-playing game, and that's a shooter.
So
Yeah.
now we've gotten to the point where we could just slap multiple
Yeah, I really think
defining
you have-
tags.
it's just they're
labels
overlapping.
on it.
It's well, it's the same issue as defining a genre or defining a metal band within the genre.
Yeah.
You know, every new metal band is a new genre in metal.
One genre
you
per
know.
band.
Yeah.
What band was I listening to recently? It was good. I liked Elder. I came across Elder. It's a nice instrumental metal band. If any of you are into metal.
I'm always into metal.
Man,
I love metal.
What
prefer
is your
nickel.
bike made of? Tubes. Glass tubes.
I've just been listening to Chevelle again because I was pretty cold on them for a
fallback.
while. Well, yeah, and then
Did you have a falling out with Chevelle? Was there
a
an
little,
argument?
a little bit, a little. Well, it wasn't. No, it was their last couple albums soured my taste for them a bit
Okay.
to the point where I almost stopped listening to them. And then my recommended on recommended video on YouTube was one of their like super old live shows, like 1999, 2000.
Okay.
And that live show just got me way back into them. I felt the music again, so I went back and listened to their first album, which is hard to find.
Hard to find for free. Put it
No,
that way.
hard. I mean, I pay for music services, and hard to find. Yeah,
Not on Pandora?
No, it's not on Pandora. It wasn't on Google Play Music. I don't subscribe to Spotify anymore, but I also didn't find it on Spotify. I ended up having to go to YouTube and finding a playlist,
Yeah.
which is fine. Whatever, I found it. It sounds good, so who cares? But a very different feel to the music, and it kind of reminded me why I loved him so much, man. Like it was an accident. Their first album was being sold in an evangel bookstore.
Oh, yeah, you told me
Yeah,
about
and
that.
my mom picked it up because she's like, well,
Religious bookstore, yeah.
I guess it's a hot seller, and I'll get my son some Christian music. It's not Christian music. It was sold in Evangel by accident. They had God in the lyrics a couple times in their album, and somebody thought that was enough to get it in Evangel. It's very much not a
And
Christian
it
album.
was.
Yeah.
to get it into a
Yeah, it got it in there.
I think it's pretty common for bands to move on, do different stuff, and you just kind of got to accept, okay, that's what they want to do.
It's
Or
not.
at least you got their original music.
It's not the difference in. I can feel the artist in most music. After they've changed, their sound, I can still usually enjoy it. It's just overproduced is the problem.
Oh,
Like they
yeah,
went
yeah.
from having what I
happens a
appreciated
lot.
as a very raw sound, and now it's super overproduced.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the levels on everything are the same, right?
Yeah.
So, I appreciate a live recording a lot better.
There was a big jump for me when the first Cage the Elephant album came out. It reminded me so much of listening to Green Day when I was younger. It hit that nostalgia button hard. And their second album came out, and it was just like standard indie love music. And I was like, what happened? What between in a year? Like, where did you go and come back with this thing?
They got rich and created the album they wanted to.
If that's what they want to make,
something.
cool. But that did not sound the same at all as their first album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you guys there that night at King Was when that band called Breaker Breaker showed up and played for us?
No.
The weird rock band that was over in the other room.
They weren't in the other room. They were in this room. They were in the
main
karaoke
bar?
room. Yeah.
I was not there.
Okay. I know Cameron was there. Anyway, fucking found them on Spotify, and that was exciting.
Yeah.
Oh.
I recently got sold on Spotify, and that's a pretty cool service. Shout out to Spotify if you want to sponsor us.
They just ended up being the biggest.
Yeah.
I still use Pandora.
Why?
Because Pandora is great for what I want it to do, and I've been using it a long time. It is heavily curated and does it exactly what I want it to.
Spotify will do it better.
Yeah, but I have to redo everything. I've been using Pandora for years.
If your taste has been curated from years of listening to music and filtering, I'd
As
stick with
everyone
the same
knows,
service.
that just means Nick listens to the Beatles all the time.
Specifically,
Every
these
channel
4 songs.
has become the Beatles. Honestly, Spotify, I haven't gotten into it enough to know how to make it do what I do on Pandora, which is just like picking a band and then it plays what it thinks are similar artist
Does
choices.
Spotify even do that?
No.
They don't. They look
Oh,
through.
well then fuck Spotify.
They look through your liked music. So
Well,
it's-
and
So it's like you have one channel,
and it just plays
No.
one
one
artist.
station.
no.
it catalogs everything you listen to.
Okay, do you have multiple stations?
So how it works is, from what I've gathered, is there's like a ton of playlists out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you'll type in a song or an artist, and it'll come up with a bunch of different playlists that has that artist or
So there'll be
song
like
on it.
Monday morning playlist or 80s playlist.
Sure.
Okay.
These are user created.
A
Some of
lot
them
of the
are,
time.
yeah.
Most of them are, yes.
Oh, fuck this noise.
No,
I'm
hold on.
out. Nope.
But then there
I've
are
jumped
also,
ship.
but then, so as you like stuff, right? If you put like a heart on it, it'll like add it to your like little library, and then it'll start composing your playlists from that stuff.
But what if I don't want to listen to Bob Dylan?
You
and
just
whatnot?
all you got to do is it'll give you the songs on the playlist, and you can hide any song you want on that playlist from the playlist.
So I have to go through every time I want to listen to something on Spotify. I have to go through and curate what mood I'm in prior to listening to that music.
You got to do that for Pandora.
No, I do not.
You just type in a mood, right?
No,
So there's
I have channels that like I know that
Yeah.
this channel is going to play this genre, these similar bands, and I can just chill and listen to this. And for the most part, it won't stray too far from that. And I'll be exposed to new music. The tone typically won't change too much. And if my mood changes, I'll click on a different like playlist, and it'll do it and with an entirely new set of music that it's going to play for me.
Yeah.
Spotify does that as well, but so do all those.
You
I
also-
mean, Last FM, Google
you also
Play
get the
Music, they all do
benefit
it.
of being able to see what's on the playlist right out the get go.
I honestly don't think that any of them bring anything new to the table, and when somebody does bring something new to the table, the others adapt. They implement the same thing.
Here's what I like about Pandora, and assuming you're paying for these on Pandora, if you want to listen to like a specific album and it's on there and it's not like copyrighted some weird way, you can just listen to the album and
Yeah.
there's no limits. You could search a song and you just find it.
Does that
Yeah,
too.
so that's the
Google Play Music
same.
does that.
However, with Pandora, I have two types of stations. I have stations where all the seeds for that station are based off a band and their type of music. So when I'm in the mood for Red Fang and that grunge punk sound, I have a station that plays all different types of grunge punk music or things, grunge punk, metal, similar to it. And then I have stations, it's a conglomeration of bands where it's like, this is my slow flow station. I listen to it at work. It's going to have all the trip hop and the lo-fi stuff and some jazz. And as you curate yes, no to these songs, it hones down, and eventually it's exactly playing what you've asked it to. And then if I want new music, you can toggle a little thing on the station, say, show me songs by the bands I've curated that are all new, or show me new stuff that's similar to what I like. And then once you've liked a bunch of songs in a station, it'll make a station of just your liked songs. And it's also, all this is based off Pandora's original idea called like the Music or Melody Project, where all these songs have these tags. So when you like a song, it's not saying this guy likes Rush. It's saying this guy likes these types of chord
Instrumentals
progressions, these types of drum beats.
These instruments.
Yeah, all that kind of musicality stuff. And I don't think any other service does that.
Google Play Music does that. I don't know that Spotify does that.
Okay.
And I know this is going to sound backwards, but that's the problem I have with Pandora.
That's fair. It
Yeah,
does
sure.
exactly what it does. And
It does become a bit
Yeah.
of an echo chamber.
so
Yeah,
you have
hear
to
the
make
same
new
thing over
stations
and over. Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah.
But yeah.
I had the weirdest one just last week. I'm listening to Louis C.K. channel. Just it's stand-up comedy bits over and over. And then out of nowhere,
Plays the fucking
occasionally-
Beatles.
No. That wouldn't surprise me. Are you kidding me? And I'm like, oh, oops. Pandora had a brain fart. No, occasionally it'll play musical comedy stuff too, Bo Burnham stuff, what have you. But then it played, I think it's called The Emmets. And it was straight up Christian evangelical music.
Oh my.
I got a minute and a half into this song, and like my coworker and stuff was like, "Can we change?" She hates Christian music.
Okay.
She's like, "Can we really just change the station?" And I'm like, "I think you just need to wait. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop for
Yeah.
this to turn into a comedy song." And I'm like, "It's probably going to get really dark, really
This is
soon."
gonna get real fucked up here.
And then so I just kept going. So I go over there.
kept rising.
Yeah, I Google it. I'm like, no, this is legitimately just a straight up Christian evangelical band that
That's
popped up on my
interesting.
Louis C.K. I'm like, is Pandora trying to save my soul?
Oh
Like,
no. It's growing in sentience.
it needs to help me find Jesus.
Man, I had to listen to a lot of evangelical music, and
Yeah, you did.
well, yeah. The sad thing is like I was saying, my parents went to Evangel and found Chevelle. Thank God. They let me listen to classics, right?
Mhm.
So I had Boston, I had Styx. When I was old enough, Guns N' Roses, that kind of thing, whatever. We weren't a conservative household by any means,
Yeah.
but for some reason, music was the thing that they chose. Was they were going to put their fucking foots down. They were like,
That's
Has
where
an
the
F
devil
word?
gets you.
fuck no, what? They weren't even, they're not even that religious, right?
Yeah.
So, they're like occasional church on Sunday kind of enthusiasts.
Those are the people who are the most afraid of the devil.
Everyone knows God drums in 4/4 to 120 beats a minute.
But man, having to listen to my dad talk about how cool the Newsboys concert was.
Newsboys.
Now,
I remember this.
It's cool, man. If you like, I get it. Only you care about the things you care about, but and everybody just that loves you is enthusiastic because
They love you.
Now explain the Newsboys again.
The Newsboys is really light rock, like it's heavy for somebody that's in their 50s, but it's like it's baby music that talks about God a lot. So, but he's talking about he's like never done before. So the drummer, he's on a platform that's elevated above the stage.
Oh shit!
And it starts to flip upside down. I'm like, Dad, they've been doing that since like the 70s, man. Like AC/DC is known for doing that shit. Like,
Is that Neil Peart's thing?
Neil Peart did it too.
Who was the dude who fucked Pamela Anderson?
Tommy
Lee.
He did it on like a fucking roller coaster track.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, wow, Dad, whoa, first time ever, huh? He's like, yeah, it's just an amazing show, and I'm like, okay.
I haven't actually seen it. Tommy Lee plays drums on a roller coaster.
You haven't seen that?
I've never seen that.
What was the band he was
awesome.
in with fucking Vince?
Yeah,
Vince, what's his name?
Dude, I have no idea.
I'm bad with.
See, the
dude with the hat, the guitar player who's
Slash.
a fucking
Yeah.
no, it's not Slash. He's the fucking
Foghat.
zombie. It's not Foghat. It's what's his name? He's a fucking zombie. He's a fucking zombie, dude. Look him up.
Rob.
Tango.
Yeah,
Tango.
the zombie.
Look it up. Look up.
You can't ever. Okay, Slash has established himself as the dude with a guitar and a hat.
I know,
Yeah.
but
It's kinda
I'm
true.
telling you, this dude is even more of it because you don't know who he is, and it makes him
Remember
even
copyright.
more insidious.
Yeah, we're not listening to music.
Yeah,
Motley Crue.
Motley
Motley
Crue, that's
Crue,
the
yeah.
one. The
How did I
guitar
not know
player.
that?
Look up the lead guitar player, Motley
Yeah.
Crue. That dude's a fucking zombie.
Your Motley Crue, your website, fuck off, dude.
Yeah, well,
Motley Crue, the audiobook.
they're definitely over the hill.
From here, it looks like it said Miley Cyrus.
But that guitar player can shred.
Moily Cyrus.
I
I don't have my contacts in, so
are they current members?
They probably are or were.
You should just search Motley Crue
guitar
Guy
player.
with a hat. Yeah.
Motley Crue guitar with hat. Got it.
Or just guitar. Yeah.
It's just gonna bring up pictures of Slash.
Well,
Or a hat
apparently
with a
they've had
guitar
like
or
15
guitar
fucking
with a hat on
guitarists, so
No, well, it's the original guy.
The OG,
Yeah.
which I mean they're bands. You got to pick and choose who's OG and who isn't.
Just go to images.
I
Stop
don't-
scrolling.
Mick Mars? Is that
Mick
who?
Mars, that's the one.
He doesn't have a hat in any of these photos. So.
Okay, whatever,
All right,
dude.
well, now he's got
Oh,
a hat.
he's
There
got
now
you
a
go.
he's got
Yeah,
a
he's
hat.
got fucking hats, dude.
All right, yeah, I recognize this guy.
That dude is. Look at him. He's a zombie.
Yeah.
That dude's a
effectively.
zombie or a vampire. He
I
fucking.
mean, right there, he just kind of looks like Marilyn Manson.
He
right?
does look like
who
Marilyn
may
Manson's
also
uncle.
be a vampire or a zombie.
Marv Manson.
I mean, he looks like an old dude that did too much coke.
It looks like
What a good
fucking
life.
edgelord.
Does he? He kind of looks like my grandma.
He looks like if your grandma was an edgelord.
A hedge lord.
But
Yeah,
you're
Working
not
in our
looking
garden.
at him.
Sonic.
You're not looking at him playing guitar. You look at him playing guitar, and that dude is fucking.
Well, yeah.
He looks like Slash.
You have to expect that out of somebody that's made their career out of playing the guitar.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point.
Was it?
I don't even remember what.
No,
we're
my
talking
point is that he
about.
looks like a fucking zombie.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Well, we got there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Anyway,
he
Tommy
does
Lee
look like my
plays-
cracked out grandma.
Drums on a roller coaster.
We'll have to
Yeah.
watch that.
Like what kind of like just on a stage roller coaster?
Yeah, it's a slow moving. It's like a roller coaster type track. So it
Like a
goes
kiddie
and it-
coaster.
yeah, basically, it goes up and out over the crowd, and it spins upside down, and so he's playing drums.
It does
upside
go.
down.
It does a inversion.
Yeah, and he gets stuck upside down for a minute. and
Actually,
he's
that
just
looks
playing
like a
drums.
pretty fucking complicated thing here.
Yeah,
I wanna
He's
see
all
this.
harnessed
All
in
the
and
way
shit.
down.
We're gonna have to mute it though.
Yeah.
That's all right. I don't need this. I just
Man,
want to see.
look
that.
at those pyrotechnics.
This is it.
Right,
yeah,
yeah,
this thing here.
Oh, okay. So like a. Oh yeah, that's definitely a roller coaster track.
He goes upside down.
Man,
He
I miss.
is turtle pacing it.
He's also just so
He's going
out of
uphill.
focus.
Oh yeah, I told you it was slow. No, he goes upside down.
Well, that's not a roller coaster. That's just.
That's just a rail system currently.
That's what a roller coaster is.
Well, that's fair.
He needs to go fast. He's got to go fast.
I told you it was
Gotta go
slow.
fast.
He goes upside down. He's on rails, and he's fucking playing the drums. What do you
He's
expect?
on a
I
slower
expect him
coaster.
to go fast.
Here he goes. Upside down. And it gets stuck upside down.
I mean, I'm not going to deny
It's a roller coaster
that it's-
track.
No, I'm not. I'm not admitting this is a roller coaster.
It is a roller coaster track.
It's not a roller coaster.
He's not coasting.
Defining quality of a roller coaster.
It
Gotta go
needs
fast.
an inventory and numbers.
Got to grow with power and ability. as it goes on.
You said like a kiddie coaster, and I said yeah.
That's not even kiddie coaster speed.
Yeah.
But it has an inversion, which makes up for the speed.
No, I disagree.
If you inverted a kid,
There's the comparison here.
Oh, this is the Newsboys.
This is the
that's
Newsboys, right?
fucking hardcore.
And this is from 2016. Like, you know, this
Oh,
is.
man.
Let me
this-
ask you a question.
He's
Does he get stuck up there? Upside down?
He's not even going upside down. I think this platform just spins, dude.
Like fast?
I don't know.
no,
I
Gotta
don't
go
know. Let's find
fast.
out. Oh no, there he is. I mean,
That's,
all right, that's
90
pretty-
degrees
that's all
from
right.
level.
That
so
took
he
some
can play
serious
drums
cooling.
down.
Throw that in your
Whoa, 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 whoa!
Okay,
That just
now
got
it's
fucking
spinning.
That's
cooler.
actually moving. All right.
Okay.
See, that's more impressive.
Yeah.
That is more
That is
impressive than what
Jones.
Motley Crue did.
Yes, I agree.
All
All
right,
right,
Dad.
no,
Going
your
fast.
dad's got it.
Dad,
No,
you're
that
right.
was fucking cool.
Okay. Newsboys wins that round.
Yeah, they
He's
absolutely
fucking tilt and
do,
whirl in it, man.
Damn.
dude.
Maybe
Wow.
we should have a
All right.
segment where we compare two ridiculous things. And see who wins. Who's got the best fake roller coaster in a music show?
No, we compare something to the Newsboys. So
Just something.
Who's cooler, this
Yeah.
thing or the Newsboys?
or the Newsboys.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Is that Michael Jackson?
No, dude.
Just some dude in a white
Dude.
jacket running away.
Yeah,
Like
he's
that?
Now
I mean,
he's
that's Michael
riding.
Jackson's
Now
zombie.
he's riding the mechanical
Oh yeah, it's
bull of drum
2016.
sets.
I forgot.
That thing's rocking back and forth, trying to buck him off.
That's just because he's a big dude. And he's moving
That's just him.
on a pedestal.
Okay.
Yeah, that fuck Tommy Lee.
Yeah.
That's way cooler.
It is way cooler.
Like
Yeah.
if that Tommy Lee one had just started like spinning like a toilet paper roll or something on there, I would have
Yeah.
been pretty
Yeah.
impressed. Instead, it's like someone jammed glue on the kid track, and it's
It-
like a train ride.
It was impressive to me until I saw the Newsboys one.
Yeah, that's true, man.
I think it was moving about as fast as a piece of bread covered in jelly and thrown at the wall, just slowly sliding down
Yeah,
the wall.
it's accurate.
I told you, like a kitty ride.
It's slower than a kiddie
But
ride.
it goes upside down.
It's like going to the locomotive park and
there are-
riding a mini.
Dude, that train is so
Train.
much fucking faster.
If the
But it-
fucking
Right.
train's faster.
But it doesn't even go upside down, and you don't have to wear a harness.
Have you been on a roller coaster?
Many times. They're one of my favorite things.
How
on
do
the
you
planet
compare
Earth.
that to a roller coaster? 'Cause
Because they are built similarly.
Okay.
Okay.
I said, and I did say roller coaster rails or tracks.
You did
Yes.
you did say tracks. It's true.
but then I asked several times,
Is it like a kiddie coaster? And
which
I
is
said, yes.
incorrect. It's not.
It's slow. I said it's
Baby
very slow.
coaster.
Yeah, that's something that I would be all right putting a newborn on.
It's a newborn coaster.
That it might just kind of rock it to sleep.
You can even invert them at that speed.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's my point. Is it's like a kiddie coaster,
It's not.
That's not kitties.
It's
That's
not invert babies.
dude.
strap your
Dudes.
grub human who can't even stand up into it and be like, oh, he's having fun.
Yeah, look at how much fun he's. Oh, he fell asleep.
How else would you describe that thing?
No, your description is fine.
I think I could describe it better. Give me a second.
Okay.
You're not wrong. You're just an asshole.
It's okay. It's just a drum set on a rail system that
Like-
moves around.
Like what? Like what kind of rail system goes in the air?
Like a train.
and spins. Trains don't go in the air.
They don't have to.
And there
being
are
in the air
and there is such a
has
thing
no
as a train
consequence.
that is a roller coaster too.
What?
At Disneyland, there's a train that is a roller coaster.
Okay.
Okay.
You know, there's also a space shuttle that's a roller coaster.
We're gonna get
I
really
know.
meta here. I don't know if a train can be a train anymore once it's entered roller coaster
Ah.
category.
It's the same type of track.
Then what? Then it's not a roller coaster. It's a train.
I mean, old wooden roller coasters, by that definition, are trains.
They were train tracks, right?
You said it, not me.
You know,
I mean,
no. The qualifier to be a roller coaster, it's got to go fast.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of different styles of roller coasters.
Yeah, you just got to go fast.
You got the like magnetic launchers and the pulley ones.
So much of that shit is not impressive if you're not going fast.
That roller coasters are good if they are fast.
Have you ever been on a slow roller coaster?
No, but I have seen one, and it goes upside down and has a drum kit attached.
All right.
The Newsboys ride
That's a
was so
good
much
place.
fucking better.
Yeah.
To end that ridiculous conversation.
It's about time to hear from our sponsors.
Yes.
Do, 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 do,
Who
do,
was
do.
paying for us today? We talked about it earlier. It was
Genie Toast.
Genie Toast.
You only get one wish, and you have to time it right.
Well, okay. Well, before we go to break, you started talking about genies. I had a thought today. Had anybody considered what would happen if the genie that you're wishing to be free, like Robin Williams' genie and stuff, what if he's evil? What if you've just unleashed a genie plague upon the world
are we
by
assuming
freeing?
you freed him?
Yes, like
Okay,
you have Robin Williams' genie from
Yeah.
Aladdin, right? And he's like buddy's hilarious and stuff.
Yeah.
But this creature is a supernatural creature that lives alone in the confines of a lamp. For
There's a
centuries.
reason he's in that lamp.
Yeah, at some point, these creatures were either created into these lamps with very specific containment procedures.
Yeah.
You can come out, you can grant 3 wishes, and then you go back to your fucking home, right? And then this fucking dopey Aladdin kid shows up, and he's like, all right, it's been 300,000 years. Now my opportunity has come again to free myself. And then wouldn't you want to wreak havoc and pain and chaos on the reality
Well,
that created
and the first thing you
combined
tell this, this kid is like, it'd be so nice to be free.
Yeah,
You
because
know,
he's
like,
got to work this kid, right?
Right.
You're denying someone their third wish.
That would have been a great ending to Aladdin. It's just the
Terrifying.
genie gets the shackles off, and he's like, "You thought Jafar was bad."
exactly.
dude.
It's like
So-
right at the end is like, oh, you should not. And the moral would be something like, don't trust demon lights or demons that live in light.
I feel like there's 3
Oil
potential
containers.
options there. One, they were evil and trapped, and they were given a means to be freed to give wishes, probably because it's just useful to have free wishes. 2, someone considered them too powerful to exist freely, and they were cocking up reality, so they trapped them as like a neutral, sorry, but by your base nature, we need to put you in. And 3, an evil race captured the good genies and then only allowed them out so that they could get wishes themselves. So I feel like you could kind of go any moral route with it. Was it dumb of Aladdin to set him free, not knowing any of that? Yeah, that was a terrible choice.
Yeah,
Because you can't really trust a genie, especially having just met it, to be like, you know what, I will free you.
But you
It's
can
your
trust
first-
Genie Toast. The only toast that's ready when you rub it out.
So there's now 2 movie premises that I'd love to put like a rated R spin on. Aladdin, I think, would be great to have like that surprise.
You've unleashed the genie.
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
Aladdin
Now
2.
you must
Yeah.
pay.
And you get to see
The
Naked Jasmine because it's R now. That'd be
Yeah,
great.
Sure.
Put on HBO, get some titties.
That's money.
Yeah.
Jasmine today.
The second one, and I know I've talked about this before, is The Never-Ending Story.
Oh, man.
How great would that movie have been if it was more for adults, right?
Now that
Well,
you mention
That
it,
scares me.
that was one of my
that
favorite movies
legitimately
growing up.
scares
I
me.
had forgotten about that movie, but that was one of my favorite movies.
That
I
was
feel like
a
Never-Ending
fantastic
Story
movie.
is scary enough.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Exactly.
super scary.
Exactly. If you were to give that like the potential to actually be scary, like
Yeah.
really fucking scary, because you get these little nuggets, right?
Yeah.
These little child appropriate nuggets of fucking fear.
Yeah.
If you were to just like give that the appropriate amount, like a giant wolf that chases you in the dark that's growing forever.
Yeah.
That sounds.
You know what
fucking
I was
awesome.
always thinking of when I was watching The Dark Crystal? I wish I was watching The Never-Ending Story.
That's exactly, dude. So I think, I watched The Dark Crystal.
I did.
Dude,
I was
it's
always
one of
just
the
like,
most
I wanna-
beloved movies, right, of our generation. I didn't really care for it because I was like, I compared it to Never-Ending Story, man.
I've never
Exactly.
seen it.
You've never seen Never-Ending Story?
I've Never-Ending Story. I've absolutely seen.
Oh, just
I've
not
never
Dark
seen
Crystal.
Dark Crystal.
Yeah, it's all
You're
right.
not missing out because
Pretty
every
good.
time you're watching it, you want to be watching The Never-Ending Story.
This is anecdotal, but men and women of our generation, majority of women I know our age, watched David Bowie's Package, the movie, whatever that was.
The Labyrinth.
The Labyrinth.
So
that
are
was
you-
the one they all watched, and they had either only maybe seen Never-Ending Story or Dark Crystal once, but then all the guys I know is all Never-Ending Story and Dark Crystal.
well,
I'd never seen the Labyrinth.
Oh, see, I was
growing up.
I was gonna go into there's 3 types of women. Okay, there's the ones whose favorite movies were The Dark Crystal.
Are we sure we want to make this statement?
Yes.
There's only
Yeah.
3 types of women.
3 types of women.
Based off movies from
So,
the late 80s.
Is this where we put in our disclaimers?
Those that love the dark, those that love the Dark Crystal, right?
Okay.
They're nice. Those that
Terrible.
those that like
I
never
like
ending
this.
those that like never ending story.
This is number 2.
They're great.
Yeah.
Those that like Labyrinth, they put out.
This is all it can't be mutual.
I think I need
No.
to go back
Some
and
game.
interview some ex-girlfriends.
Well,
Yeah.
How true
dude,
this
no,
is.
I'm taking.
Now I know question number 1 to ask on a date.
I'm taking this from a decent sample size of if you're trying to get laid, find out of those 3 which is their favorite.
You like the
You're
Labyrinth?
forgetting a very important
Let's go back
equation
home and watch
to
The
this.
Labyrinth.
Beetlejuice. The girls who watched and loved Beetlejuice growing up.
But that's not. It's not a fantasy. It's not You're going to a different movie genre.
It is
Yeah.
pretty fantastic.
It's still on
Okay.
topic for like which movies might indicate a girl.
Trying to figure out how to add
We
to
were
this
talking 3
weird
competing movies.
I feel like this should be an episode on itself.
I think you guys are forgetting the penultimate.
horse girls.
rule.
Oh,
The women that
We're gonna
love
piss
the
so
movie
many people
Legend.
Legend.
with Will Smith.
Because then you're going to get
No,
the like.
that's I Am Legend.
If you want
Oh.
to be superficial as hell, you're getting the hyper nerd
Yeah.
that's watched the most sexualized of all the fantasy movies. Because then you get that pen.
Who played the devil?
It's Tim Curry.
Yeah.
Tim. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I forgot about
I don't
Legend.
know. I
Tim
don't know
Curry
that
plus
movie.
it's fucking Tom Cruise
Tom
and
Cruise.
Tim
The
Curry.
little girl.
You've never seen Tom Cruise in Legend?
Dude.
No.
So Curry plays the devil. He's got the huge horns, full red skin. You'll probably recognize
I've probably
pictures of it.
seen a picture of that because that looks or that sounds familiar, but I don't think I've actually seen this movie. It sounds interesting.
Oh, it's fantastic.
It's a Tim Curry movie.
It's worth it.
It's
Oh,
a Tim
yeah.
Curry movie.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I think it's
I'm
a good movie,
I'm
but
gonna watch
like
that this week.
visually speaking, it's incredible.
Hmm.
Like especially for
I mean,
its time.
We're saying fantastic in the vein of like we have Neverending Story, Dark Crystal.
Yeah.
All these movies are
Right.
much
Yeah.
beloved.
Yeah.
Legend's there, man.
It's
Okay.
100%
I agree.
All right.
Yeah.
I agree. Wow, images.
What was the kid's name in,
Really let me
Neverending
down.
Story?
Atreyu?
Atreyu.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. You remember those colossal statues with the laser eyes?
Fuck yeah.
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
Dude,
That was
that
so
was
I,
such a tense scene.
I was always really confused as a kid because I was like, man, titties, but also lasers. Like,
I'm sad to say that's all I was thinking about. Right
yeah,
there. It's like
well,
the statue
yeah,
scene. That's when she's wearing like the Princess Leia-esque outfit,
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
What was the name of the movie with the Cyclops and doing the somersault in the hallways really bad?
Oh, Kroll.
Kroll. Oh, man. The,
The Kroll.
wannabe
Kroll.
never-ending story.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one's fallen by the wayside for a reason. It's pretty
Yeah.
rough to watch.
God, that was...
Doesn't his
Entertaining.
horse like get lost in the muck?
He gets
Yeah,
trapped
when
in
they're going
Yeah,
through
dude.
the swamp.
Oh, that was so
Artax.
heartbreaking.
Artax, yeah. It's because it's the killing the family dog trope, right?
Yeah. Oh, and that scene with the wolf.
Except for that
Man, that
dog
movie's all
prevents you from
coming
having
back.
to walk.
Yeah.
Shit.
Which is even better.
Dude.
And worse to lose.
The rock giant, right?
Oh,
Like,
I
he-
remember him just eating the rocks.
Well, yeah, but
And
early
there's
on,
the
that was a really
nothing.
happy thing, man. He was just
Yeah.
chomping on rocks, and he was with his like
But
snail
then he
buddy
gets
and his.
fucking sad.
Yeah. Well, you come back to him, and he's like, the only reason I didn't get sucked into nothing is because of these big, strong hands. But I couldn't save
Yeah,
the people I
that's
love
right.
with these big. It's like, god damn, man.
Children are watching this.
Yeah, right. That's just dark. But you know what? We grew up with that. Like,
Yeah.
I think most of our stuff had a pretty dark, like some pretty dark undertones in it
Oh,
somewhere.
yeah. All the time.
You know, the Wiggles. Fuck you. Like, you know.
Caillou.
Yeah.
Ugh.
We grew up with Barney and went straight into Neverending Story.
Yeah.
I mean, with a little bit of like Power Rangers sprinkled in there.
My niece is 11,
Mhm.
and last night we were hanging out for a minute with our neighbor, and she likes to draw. And so she comes up with like this little drawing book of things, and one of this character she's drawn is like this girl who has like this weird eye and these stitches on the corner of her mouth, and it's almost like Tim Burton-esque.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. What is this? And she starts talking about these things called creepypastas. Have you heard of this?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, she's drawing Momo, isn't she?
It was a thing with a
Probably.
time eye, like a clock for an eye.
Is it Sans from Undertale?
No.
Or
She had a
Creepypastas.
bunch of she had like Joker scars on her mouth,
Okay.
and they were stitched
I
up.
don't know this particular one.
Yeah.
Okay, but anyway, we were like, "What the fuck is a creepypasta?" And she proceeded to explain them to us, and my neighbor was like, "Don't be a weirdo."
There is nothing wrong with creepypasta as long as you're not
good.
going too adult
Okay,
with it. 'Cause
what was it? She was
some
like,
do.
one of my favorites is Killer Jim, or something like that. We were like,
11, yeah.
you got to be careful what you're saying.
Yeah,
kiddo."
but we grew up with Are You Afraid of the Dark, the R.L.
Right.
Stein stuff. The,
So that's when I was trying to turn
Scary
her on to
Stories?
like some like not so overt stuff, right? Because
Sure.
those things had a little bit of a nuance to them, right? They were sort of grounded. It wasn't just like, here's this thing of a weird. It wasn't just creepy because it was weird. It was creepy because
I think the kids were just given a little bit more respect. Their intellect was respected a little more, that they could handle more mature themes.
Mhm.
Right. Side note, before we really go on break, my nephew drew me a picture recently. It's 3 volcanoes. There's a ninja coming out of each one, and each ninja is saying butthole.
That's
The best
That's
part
great.
is that he spelled butthole differently each time. One of them is just like HXHL and then BUTHO, just butthole.
They speak different languages.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Dude, you
I
know, he's
never
just
thought
being
about that.
inclusive.
because they come from
He's
different
being-
volcanoes.
yeah.
Ninja Americans. He's
You-
being racially
Yeah, you
sensitive.
racist. You think they all come from China?
Yeah.
Come from lava
Could be
China.
different dialects of China.
They're
Chinese.
mole men, I guess, if they come from underground.
All right, now a word from our sponsors.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is the end.
Nothing's better
Yeah,
than
we've probably been
Genie
doing
toast.
this a while.
Man, we
Yeah.
talked that long.
Yeah, man. Look at it. It's right there.
Yeah, that's
Look
a
at
lot
those-
of blue squiggles.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't see that far.
I am
It's
impressed.
an hour and 26 minutes.
Well,
We're good.
If
Thank
you
you
made it
so
this far
much.
with us, yes, thank you for sticking around.
Yeah, we love you.
we love you. And next time, we will tell you the secret of the 3 shells.
Educate your mind. Don't let the brain cells die. Come on, it's balcony time.